start to be alive. There, we are at the Breakout event. This is the second Cryptalk in English. I'm so excited with everyone here. And in the second block of your Cryptalk blockchain, we received FESQ. So welcome to the second Cryptalk podcast in English.
Hey, nice. Thank you for having me. Like, I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy you are here too. So it was a pleasure to meet you at the Breakout event, and I'm sure we will have a lot of things to talk.
Oh, absolutely. That's for sure.
So the first thing I was very surprised is like you are Brazilian.
Yeah, I am.
Oh my God, I'm very impressed with that because all the things I saw from you was in English.
Mhm.
I could see you have a really good international career.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people in the house like can learn a lot with you, and the conversation will be amazing. So
Yeah, for sure.
welcome to our second block of our Cryptalk blockchain.
Thank you. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, sure. So just to start, we have the most important question
Oh,
at the Cryptalk event.
oh, let's go.
As I was talking with you in the backstage, we don't have like a really good expression this in English.
Uh-huh.
At least I don't know, but if someone know, just put it on the comments here to me. Thank you. So the first question is, who are you in the crypto space?
Oh boy. Yeah, okay. That's a tough question. I mean, let's start maybe how I became an artist, right? Because that ties later on with how I got into the crypto space.
Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, like I wasn't an artist at all until I was like 20 or so. So before that, I was a programmer, right? I was in college for software engineering. I had nothing to do with art.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so it happens that I stumbled upon like people's artwork online, and I was completely fascinated back in the day. And I don't know, that kickstarted my interest on starting to learn 3D programs, like in 3D art, because this is like people's niche, right, on how he works.
Yeah,
And
totally.
that snowballed into like a lot of interest. I don't know, I never seen anything consume me like 3D art did back in the day. So I had many hobbies over time, but like 3D art kind of damn took over my life. And yeah, and that slowly became what started as a hobby kind of became to started to become a little bit more professional over time, right? And everything damn changed when I met in person with Beeple back in 2019, right? And for those that don't know Beeple has like a everyday project in which he does one artwork every day for over like 15 years, right? So as soon as I met him, he challenged me to do 100 days of every days, right? And I couldn't say no. The guy was the inspiration that kind of kickstarted my art career, so might as well say yes. So after I kickstarted those every days, that kind of gave me even more traction to become an artist full time. So it was funny because he was the guy that inspired me to get into art, and then he was the essential push for me to do this full time,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, later on, I kind of stumble upon NFTs and the crypto space, and that's how I'm here. We can maybe dive that into that a little bit later.
That's really great journey.
Yeah. Oh, messy as hell, but like it was fun. It was fun for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. So it's interesting because you started your career as an engineer and now you are working completely different thing. And how was like to be more deeply? How was for like people around you? Like is your family, is your friends?
Yeah, well, it's quite shocking when you tell their parents they're gonna drop out like software engineering school to be like a full-time artist. Like that's a big hit.
I
But
can imagine.
yeah, but thankfully, like I always been extremely like cautious, and I plan ahead like months in advance. So when I decided to make the jump, I kind of okay, dad, mom and dad, like this is the plan. I'm doing this. If this doesn't work out in like 6 months, I go back into college. I have enough contacts because I usually used to do internship with like Edge Global, right?
Uh,
So I had enough contacts to get back into work. So it was risky, but it wasn't as crazy as people might think because I had a plan. You know, if that didn't work out in like 6 months, I just go back to being a programmer, right? But thankfully, it did work out. right?
Yeah, and I think everyone is thankful about that because we are at the Breakout event, and I could see there all your no, but some of your arts there, and it's very impressive. Could you talk a little more about how was your inspiration to
Mm.
create things like that?
Oh well, when it comes to especially the NFTs, like I do a lot of work. So over 6 years, maybe I have more than 1,000 artworks online.
Wow.
Probably, yeah. If you combine like Tumblr and Instagram and all that stuff, I probably have more than 1,000. But when it comes to NFTs, the artworks that I actually got meant into the blockchain, I have like I don't know 30 or something. So it's a really limited sample of like the whole body of work that I have. So this collect people cannot see it unfortunately, but like this collection that I have here, it's called Pieces of Me, right?
Ah,
So each
makes sense.
artwork is actually yeah, you can see by the visual language how it's all break down and like into little pieces, and that ties into the concept itself.
Yeah.
But like how each of these artworks are actually kind of recordings of specific moments of my life, right?
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, if I were to explain every single one of them, that would probably take a little while, right? But yeah, that's the overall concept for that collection specifically. So other pieces of art, other collections, they all have their own contained concepts, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally. Makes totally sense. And I can see like it's different kind of parts of the body. I can see in some parts with child and all that things. And how was the process of creating this kind of art? Did you use things like artificial intelligence?
No, actually no.
Oh,
I work with 3D art, right? So I have 3D programs that manipulate 3D models,
ah, nice.
and you basically set up a scene, you set up a bunch of lights, and you set up all the textures, and then you gotta take a picture of the artwork, if that makes any sense. So you create an environment and then takes a picture, right? So that's my process a little bit. I work maybe to give people some names and some tools that I use. I use Cinema 4D with Redshift Render. Those are my main, which are professional programs used on a bunch of like feature films and all that stuff. It's just that I'm not using for like films. I'm just doing like still images and small animations.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And please tell me more, like about your history. Like, for example, you said about your career
Hmm.
and about your family and things like that. But I'm a little bit curious. Uh, about like how did you know about the NFT,
Oh,
about the like Bitcoin and things
shit.
like that for the first time?
Oh, what? Okay, that's interesting because okay, I'm from Rio de Janeiro, right?
Ah,
So like
okay.
for people that don't know, and especially for people listening English that might not know about Brazil, like Rio specifically is the land of like scams and all that shit, right?
No
So
digital scan, like
yeah,
personal scans.
yeah, like you
I'm
know,
joking, guys. I'm joking, Cariacas.
yeah. So like as soon as I found about NFTs, that was back in June of 2020, maybe. I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way. This is definitely a scam. Like, there's no way like people are selling art for crypto, right?
Yeah.
Because like crypto as a whole has this overall like how can I say it? It's not as it is all about transparency, but when it comes to like the public understanding of crypto, it's not as transparent as people might think. So I was like, yeah, this has definitely some scammy vibes. I'm gonna stay away from this. But after a few months, as I saw some of my friends and artists that I admire a lot that work like with big brands like Nike and Apple, all this stuff, jumping into NFTs, I was like, wait a second. So there's probably like some substance behind it
Yeah,
for
sure.
all these people be jumping on it. And as soon as I started looking into it, because of my background as a programmer, I was like, damn, okay, this is just like blockchain. This is like a smart contract in the Ethereum network. It makes total sense. Like I opened the programs, I could read all the smart contracts, understand the functions. I was like, yeah, that's that's an easy thing to properly understand and see the value over time. So back when I kind of like I don't know that if that's even an expression in English, but like flick the switch in which like it kind of it as soon as I knew I understood, I was like I definitely need to be part of this. So
Yeah.
like I jumped right in.
Yeah, it makes totally sense, and I probably most of the people is the same. Like when saw the first time, everyone was like, maybe I don't believe. And the second time is like, why I didn't start earlier?
Of course, it's always like that.
Totally. And the backstage too, you were talking about the people event,
Mhm.
in the international people event. Could you please tell us a little bit more?
Oh yeah, for sure. So as I mentioned before, like Beeple has a really huge impact on my life as a whole, right? Not only because he was the inspiration that got me into art, but like the guy that pushed me to do it like more professionally. And like Beeple created called Beeple Studios, right? After his like incredible ascension through NFTs and making millions and millions and millions of dollars, he basically bought a full-on warehouse in Charleston, South Carolina, and he created like both a facility for him to produce his own like products and a big huge actually huge museum to showcase his entire like body of work and to be a hub to showcase other artists, right? So
Great.
thankfully I was one of the artists invited to showcase my art at the event. So they had a huge room with projection on all sides and six huge columns filled with like LCD panels, in which I was able to create a specific artwork to envelop the entire environment, right? Yeah, and with that, I got invited to actually go to the party, which was literally insane. It was like, yeah, it was crazy shit, 100%.
I'm sure. Could you tell something like cool about these people studios?
Mm, Okay, so the event in itself surprised me in some way because he was planning a 1 hour live every day, right? So he does every day is 1 hour to work every single day. So I was like, yeah, Mike is gonna actually Beeple's real name is Mike. So Mike is gonna do like an artwork start to finish in 1 hour. That's okay. I seen that before. But I was wrong. Like in 1 hour, he created 51 artworks. It was like one artwork every 10 minutes. And the thing is, he had his computer hooked up to a bunch of printers in the ceiling. So
Uh,
as soon as he finished one artwork, he pressed the button, and the printers started like printing prints and prints falling out of the ceiling. That was like surprising as hell. I wasn't expecting that. But
yeah.
then w- randomly one of the prints would have like a yellow line in it, yellow like I don't know, yeah, a yellow line on the bottom of the page. And if you had those, you would be able to claim a 101 NFT from people, right? Which sells for well over $100,000. So it was literally $100,000 falling from the sky, and people were going nuts, like because everyone was trying to get the prints. I managed to get three prints, not the NFT. Unfortunately, I wasn't that lucky, but I got three prints and managed to make people sign one of them. So at least I got a signed print right there.
Whoa, it
Yeah,
sounds really, really cool.
yeah, it
I'm
was.
sure. And now, like yeah, as we talked when start the podcast, you are Brazilian, you are from Rio de Janeiro, and why did you choose you start your career in the international space, not like in Brazil?
Well, initially, my main goal was to get better in English, right? Because I I did some courses and some lessons when I was younger. I knew how to understand it and write it a little bit, but when it comes to speaking, it's a whole other beast, right?
Yeah.
You gotta practice it pretty much. So my idea was, okay, let's start FESQ, my art project in English, so I can push myself to only communicate in English
That's
and
so
kind of get
amazing.
better, right? So
Yeah.
that was the initial goal with it. But then, if you think about it career-wise, if you communicate in English, you basically reach the entire fucking world and not just Brazil.
Yeah.
So career-wise, it makes way more sense. So it was a win-win situation. Like I got better in English. I now can speak pretty well, I think. At least I like to think it. But and I kind of got a global reach with that.
Yeah, sure. And how was the marketing for that? Because like, do you think right now more Brazilian people, like more Brazilian know about your art, or more international people know?
Well, based on the analytics of my social media, it's mostly Americans, right? Americans,
Really?
Europeans, and Brazil get reaches like the second or the third place,
Whoa.
and the fourth place is India, for some reason. I'm not sure. right?
Great.
Yeah, so I would say that more people know me in the US or like abroad than down here in Brazil. But that has been changing. Like with NFTs, I got a little bit more of exposure. I did some interviews for Fantástico, right?
Uh-huh.
That got me a little bit more attention down here in Brazil, and it's shifting. But I like to think that like, and based on the numbers, most people that know me, it's like outside Brazil, right?
Yeah, that's really great. Do you have any advice for like all Brazilian artists want to start in the international space?
I would say just communicate in English, right? If you communicate in English and you format your whole brand in English, you're basically already connecting with the outside world, if that makes any sense. And I would say that most Brazilians, I mean, not most, but like a decent chunk already understands English to some extent. So you can as well communicate with them. Like when I record stories, I record them in English, for example. And a bunch of Brazilians reply to that, right? Because they understand it. So I would say just communicate in English, and that's already a really good step on starting an international career.
Yeah, sure. I think it's most for everyone. I was reading, I think it was like 2 days ago, less than 1% of the population speaking English in Brazil.
Oh yeah.
So it's basically it's really hard for the most of the people to say this. But if I can help someone with this, like we have the artificial intelligence
Oh
to
yeah.
translate the things. We have Google Translate, of course, to have this start.
Hmm.
I think if people just start to writing in English,
Hmm.
to write in English, probably you'll be better than just to try
Yeah,
to
I would
have
say like
conversation.
yeah, when I said that a good chunk of Brazilians is not actually true, I just said like so on 1%. But like I would say that 1% is able to speak it, but like especially because of movies and all this stuff, a good chunk can actually kind of understand it, you know? So I would say yeah, 1% speaks it, but like I would bet the more kind of understands it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's depend, I think, of the part of Brazil you are in.
Oh
I
yeah.
think so. But I'm thinking a lot about a lot of things we can talk. But right now, like we are in the live on YouTube,
Okay.
so I'm just like reading some things people were talking and ask
Oh yeah, sure.
for you. So. Um, how is the new studies about the NFT things, like the dynamic NFT?
Oh, dynamic NFTs.
Yeah.
Well, there are a bunch of those. Like especially when about like artists, there's a specific platform called Async Art. I don't know if you ever heard of it. That you can create dynamic NFTs. So you have basic parameters in which you can change the NFT based on like the sunset and the sunrise. You can
Oh.
yeah, you can change the NFT based on like the seasons of the year. So yeah, those are quote unquote programmable dynamics NFTs are already like being part of the NFT space for quite a while. But yeah, like I have a friend called Josh Pierce. His Instagram is J Pierce. He did like an artwork that captures your geolocation, right? So for example, we are in São Paulo right now. It would capture the weather in São Paulo and would update itself with like a gloomy weather of a rainy weather based on your location. So that's another example of like an artwork that is dynamic based a certain parameter.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you listened about the Tico? Tico Factory
Mm,
is will be one of the speakers at the Breakout
mm,
event. They created like a really a toy. If to children, but I don't think probably parents would like children to touch because it's very special and very kind and cute. And this toy, if you buy the toy, you can have the NFT. And
mhm,
it's a dynamic NFT.
mhm,
So, for example, is a toy like a Wally? They
mhm.
know that
The
they,
little robot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that toy can become old, and the NFT you become old too.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Have you thinking about to do something like that in the future? Like something as a digital, not
Mm.
just digital?
Official, yeah, I do. I'm actually going to have a talk in a few hours about a sneaker that I'm coming up. So it's a sneaker, yeah, it's a digital sneaker. You buy the NFT, they're all numbered, and you can grab the sneaker after it. And the sneaker have an NFC tag that links up to the NFT, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I'm gonna give more details about that in the talk a little bit later. But yeah, that's. answering your question. Yeah, I'm planning on doing like digital stuff.
Oh, so please, after when you have a time, just show us.
Yeah,
Probably everyone from Cryptalks,
yeah,
you'll be good. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you'll be think you'll be nice. I'm curious to be honest.
100%.
Yeah. So we are just close to finish the podcast. Was to me it was very quick
Yeah,
conversation.
it was really quick. It was really quick.
Yeah, but thanks so much for your time. I just would like to say, like, we have the pull-up, so you have the second Crypto pull-up. Um, because this is, as I said when it started, this is our first Crypto podcast in English. So, in Brazil, we don't have a lot of events with pop, so we just started now.
That's actually true.
So I was just trying to explain to people what is pop and why it's important and things like that. So I really hope you become rich with this pop in the future
Oh, okay.
because Cryptalk have a good value.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just minting this right now. That's perfect.
Yeah, totally. And just to finish, we always have like a picture to
Yeah,
show
yeah.
everyone. So you can have this and you can do that. Cheers. So everyone is watching us on Spotify, Deezer, or audios on Listed
Okay.
or YouTube. It's because we are in all these platforms.
Nice.
Can just take a picture, take a print, and put on all social medias and tell us what they thinking about our conversation and how we
Yeah.
could improve something in the life.
There you go. Which camera? Which camera?
Yeah.
This one?
Is this camera? So you can say 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Yeah. So thanks so much. Really thank you
Absolutely.
for your
Yeah.
time. And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, and good luck in some hours. So yeah, so thank you.
Sure.
And for everyone who's in the house, thank you for your time too. It was the second. Oh, sorry. It was the second block of our Cryptalks blockchain and the second block in English. So I'm very very excited. And yeah, thank you so much, Breakout. Thank you so much, everyone is watching us. So
Bye bye, everyone.
tomorrow, guys.
Vamos, vamos, vamos.
Nossa,